Garza trying to place that straight right. And he goes down in an instant.
A cautious first round, but not here as Mack puts down Wiggins.
Wiggins might be knocked out for the fifth time in his career.
Oh! And a right hand floors Rodney Freeman. And what a shot by Troy Wilson. We had Madelone hurt in the seventh round. Oh, you see Madelone come back and now hit the canvas of the rim.
Should lay inside too long, but he's going to get plenty of
How about
opportunities.
the uppercuts, Eddie?
And there's that uppercut.
Oh, what a right hand by Julio Diaz!
جراح الأمة الثكلى تنادي فهبوا يا بني قومي أسودا أعيدوا للدنا أمجاد عصر وفلوا بالحديد لنا القيودا أقيموا بالحمى حصنا منيعا تتوج هامة السحب السدودا أيا أبناء جلدتنا أفيقوا من الشهوات يكفيكم رقودا نعم قاتل لأنك نصرنا قاتل نداء الكفر في كل الحصون نعم قاوم لأنك فجرنا قاوم وأمطر من سلالة صهيون نعم قاتل لأنك نصرنا قاتل نداء الكفر في كل الحصون نعم قاوم لأنك فجرنا قاوم وأمطر من سلالة صهيون فلتقاتل فدين الله يا قومي يعاني وقد لاقى صدودا وجمودا فمن منكم يقول بملء فيه أعين دين يا أهل الجحودا ويصرخ في ظلام الكون هيا أعدوا عدة الحق وقودا ويصرخ في ظلام الكون هيا أعدوا عدة الحق وقودا نعم قاتل لأنك نصرنا قاتل نداء الكفر في كل الحصون نعم قاوم لأنك فجرنا قاوم وأمطر من سلالة صهيون نعم قاتل لأنك نصرنا قاتل نداء الكفر في كل الحصون نعم قاوم لأنك فجرنا قاوم وأمطر من سلالة صهيون فدين الله يا قومي يعاني وقد لاقى صدودا وجمودا فمن منكم يقول بملء فيه أعين دين يا أهل الجحودا ويصرخ في ظلام الكون هيا أعدوا عدة الحق وقودا ويصرخ في ظلام الكون هيا أعدوا عدة الحق وقودا نعم قاتل لأنك نصرنا قاتل نداء الكفر في كل الحصون نعم قاوم لأنك فجرنا قاوم وأمطر من سلالة صهيون نعم قاتل لأنك نصرنا قاتل نداء الكفر في كل الحصون نعم قاوم لأنك فجرنا قاوم وأمطر من سلالة صهيون
Any and all donations.
You know what? I'm gonna let them get their record for this last round. Yo, you and you. Punch out, man. It's the last round. Act like you fighting for a belt. Talk bang out. No more running. Bang out. Let's see what you really made of. And remember one thing. It ain't the punch you see that knock you out. It's the Let's go. Ding, ding, ding. Round 5. Last round. Let's go. Let's go. What y'all waiting for? Total go. Let's go. Punch out.
Gotta set those jabs, man.
Get low. Let's go. Get low. Bang out. Come on, y'all.
Oh, nice recover
Get low,
though.
little man. Bang out. Get low. Step in there. Get low.
That was illegal.
He tried to throw it back in.
Keep your hands up. Come on, bang out.
And all
Looking like a
donations.
punching bag, bro.
Breathing hard. Never let the next man see you can't breathe. See, I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. Why y'all boxing? Y'all either one of y'all boxing and I ain't seen you like that, I would have tried to eat you for breakfast. Hands up. And I can talk like that.
That's right.
Hands up.
Oh, nah, no, don't slam him. That's what I'm saying. Look like you're about to fuck boxing.
Tap gloves.
I want to be the Rock.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, he won. My boy Neha.
Yo, hold
Neha
up.
won.
Yo, listen. They tired. I'm gonna let them rest. I need an opponent. Because my man right here want to get some rest.
You say he wants to
Find somebody.
he got the.
To step up to the plate and give him some work.
You don't want those.
For the first time in over 30 years, primetime boxing. Herman. One mission, to be called champion. To get there, they train hard, punishing their bodies so they can deliver it to their opponent. And who surrounds them is critical, because wound too tightly, every fighter will eventually crack. But as hard as they train, there are hours left in the day, and the choices they make will reverberate on fight night.
How many people can say they actually love their job?
So every moment matters, even the small ones.
He just can't hit me. It don't matter what he do.
Especially the small ones, as each fighter draws on the support of those closest to them. Guerrero, Thurman, Broner, and Molina.
Boom, boom, daddy.
all have different paths to the same destination, the center of the ring on March 7th. This is PBC Corner to Corner. Soon the opening bell for round 1 will ring. That is when all the training, all the support, and all the little choices come down to one moment of truth.
I'm not that type of ritual guy, like, before the fight, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. You know, I just let the day come and then I just handle my business.
The reality is my family's in my head. I got a mortgage to pay. I got a daughter that wants to go to college. If I die tomorrow, I want everybody to know that I did what I can do as a provider.
From right out the locker room, you're focused, zoned out. All eyes are on Thurman. Can't wait to get there. Can't wait for that bell to ring. Get in there, land that first shot. Feel that first shot from him.
My final thoughts going into the ring, this is how you make your dreams come true. And then I hear the
So to me, it's going to be a dog fight. We're going to see who the stronger man is.
Main plan is to win, you know, by any means. Do what I got to do.
The inaugural Premier Boxing Champions on NBC. Here he is, the champ, Keith One-Time Thurman.
You know, I've been wanting this for a while. We've been waiting patiently.
Robert the Ghost Guerrero.
I'm ready to go. I'm always in shape. Everybody knows I come to fight all the time, so I'm coming to fight.
And y'all already know what I'm coming for, man. I'm coming for that knockout, man. Don't blink. KO's for life. Let's go to work.
My last name's Guerrero, and that means warrior.
I'm looking for a KO every single round. I want to be the first fighter that ever knocked out Robert the Ghost Guerrero.
And now here is Abner Maris.
Reyes is no match for me. I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna take him to school. I'm gonna teach this guy a lesson.
Now introducing John the Gladiator Molina Jr.
There's no excuses going into this fight.
His opponent, Adrian Broner.
John Molina, this is the time where he's gonna stay on the bad end of the stick.
We're gonna make it a dogfight.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the official weigh-in Premier Boxing Champions. John Molina Jr.
An old school dogfight. I mean, here we are, network primetime television. I can guarantee you it's going to be a fight.
And his opponent, Adrian Broner.
You know, the sky's the limits right now. I'm looking forward to disrespecting and stopping John Molina.
Abner Maris.
I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna dominate all the rounds. Reyes is no match for me.
Robert the Ghost.
I do what I always do. Come out and fight. The fans know I come to fight. I ain't gonna run. I'm gonna do what I have to do.
Keith One-Time Thurman.
My power's legitimate, man, because my name's One Time for a reason. The fans already know that. And I am gonna hurt Robert the Ghost Guerrero.
Okay. It is recording.
All right, welcome class. This is boxing level 1 footwork. I am out of town, or I will be. I'm shooting this in advance. So you are required to watch this video, and there will be a test on the final about triangle theory, okay? So the theory in boxing is everything happens with angles. And so to illustrate this, I've put tape on the floor, and we're gonna go over what's called the triangle theory. There's many different theories in boxing and fighting in general. One's the diamond theory, One's the hex theory, but today we're just going to do the triangle. It's the most basic, okay? So the triangle theory is a theory that you use once you engage with your opponent. So we're going to get started. Let me put the gloves on. You should have purchased your boxing gloves by now. So I have my nice gloves on. I have an assistant here. He's another faculty member here, so this will be fun. So the lines you see that we're stepping on are our outside of engagement lines, okay? So this is where you're totally outside of range, where you could box with your opponent. So the thing you need to do is to get into range. But once you get into range, you don't want to get hit, and you don't want to get attacked and get hurt. So you need to defend yourself, and you can do that with your footwork by using the triangle theory. So we're going to engage. The bell is rung, ding, ding. Here we go. I step to the top of the triangle when I'm ready to defend myself and fight back, okay? As he engages to attack me, I step to the outside of the punch where there's no more harm. I use the line of the triangle and attack. Let's do the other hand. This time he throws the straight left. I use the triangle, I attack, okay? This only works if he's attacking me. If I'm attacking him, the triangle flips. So come and stand on the top of the triangle. And he's waiting for me to attack. Now, when I attack him, he's waiting, and he's going to be defensive and counter me. Same thing if I come with a straight left. Boom. So, you then ask, well, what should I do if I'm attacking someone if they're going to use the triangle theory against me? You have to outthink them, all right? So, I know from boxing, if I throw my jab, he's going to step out to the outside of it, and I'm in the southpaw stance now. He knows that too, so I need to be ready to defend myself for the counter. So as I shoot the jab and he shoots the counter, I duck. That's how you defend yourself, because he's using the triangle theory. Same thing when I shoot my straight left hand, I roll underneath. And then I've defended myself from the triangle theory. If I want to make this a little bit more fun, this is what we can do. I'll shoot the jab, go underneath, and then I go to the body and counter him. Same thing, I shoot the straight left hand, body shot, straight left over the top, okay? Watch this video, learn your triangle theory. You will be tested on the triangle theory. It will be on the final. Don't say I didn't teach you the triangle theory, because it's right here on the floor. Look at the floor. It is a triangle. Use the triangle theory. We will demonstrate it in class, and it will be on the final. Thanks a lot. Happy boxing.
Orientation a little better. Okay, so about I'm gonna have on after 6. I'm gonna run it in real time across the Wi-Fi, just so you can see it. About a year and a half ago, our CIO, I'm in ITS. I guess I should tell you. I'm an instructional technologist for the fine arts. I'm in work with ITS. That's my department, but I deal with all the fine arts, art, music, and theater. About a year and a half ago, our CIO wanted to bring in a cloud storage service for everyone at Furman. He went, I believe, to an Internet 2 consortium meeting, and they were talking about Box. Box uses 256-bit AES encryption in general, and then SSL, 256-bit SSL encryption for all your transfers. So that was the one to use compared to Dropbox or Google Drive, etc. There is absolutely no security on there, but at the same time, a lot of professors were using Dropbox in particular, which has been hacked twice, I think, so far. So he wanted to purchase that for everyone at Furman, staff, faculty, and students. He brought it up in a meeting. I believe I was the only one in there who had ever used it. I've used it now, I guess, for 7 years. So he put me in charge of it. That's how it happened. So we set up a committee, blah blah blah. We rolled it out January 2013 to everyone on campus. I got an email yesterday from Kathy Frazier, one of our systems people, was on the committee. We've had, I believe, 1,500 people sign up. Furman is not a big campus, but that's a pretty good number, and that's kind of what we were looking for at this time. This right here is just Box.com. Okay, you can go on there, set up a free account, get 5 gigs of space, you know, like Dropbox, etc. The main difference that I'm going to try to show y'all are the security features. The one thing that our CIO really wanted were people to be able to access their files and folders off campus without using VPN. Our local shares are great, but first off, they have no security. Absolutely, I mean, don't tell anybody. No security at all. And on top of it, you have to have VPN. It can be a little hairy for people. So this is what we decided on. So when we rolled it out, this is what it looks like. Now, this is at furman.box.com. It's mass, so the address is a little different, but you can get to it from our portal at furman.edu if you can authenticate and get in. So at first, it was a situation where a lot of people were confused, you know, what are we doing this for, etc. But when it was explained to them first and foremost that initially they had 25 gigs of free space, then it caught their attention. Now everybody's been bumped up to 50. Okay, so everyone at Furman, from the bottom feeders up to the top, have this, including students. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. The students are at the top. To me, because I mean that's why we're here. We're to teach. It's not about people making money. Okay. So from there we connected it. I logged in there. I logged in quickly. Or actually, I was already logged in. There's an InCommon sign-in page that we set up to connect to our Active Directory login. So my username is mvic. I put in mvic and my network password. Okay, this is for everybody across the board, so it wasn't a situation where they had to have another password. The people on the committee helped set that up, the systems people, and got it connected. It was a little hairy, but once they got it connected, honestly, we've had no trouble with it. Okay, so from here, I'm just using Safari. You can get on any browser, on anyone's computer, and access your files and folders, which is wonderful. You can stream from here, most file types. You can stream from here, common file types. The simplest way to explain it is, once it comes up, you sign in, you click New, you get a new folder, it comes up. I'll just type ACS. From here, I can invite people immediately. I say not to do that because they would immediately get a notification. But let me just go through and just click OK. All right, I'm on y'all's Wi-Fi and it's working great. Okay, so here I am. I click Share. Now let's talk about the permissions, because prior to this, with our local shares, a user would have to get approval, send it to our service center. From there, it would go to one of our systems people who would have to set it up. She would have to get the permissions. If it was a class, I mean, it could take a little while if she was busy. Okay, this gives the user the power to share and collaborate and set the permissions. At the same time, you know, you could mess up and share something you weren't supposed to. So, I mean, it makes people be a little more conscious. Okay, so I click on Access. Our default access is for collaborators only, meaning people at Furman. This system, the way we have it set up, does not self-populate. Once I share something with somebody, their name would self-populate. That's been a slight caveat for some people. That's a security feature built in, so we didn't have to put everyone's username in there. But once it's in there, it's there. Okay, so you can set a custom URL. I mean, I know a lot of this is obvious to everybody, but I'll just show you. You can set expiration. I can unshare it on a specific day, and then I can actually have it automatically delete on a day. Okay, this is deep security, and it takes you out of the loop if you set it up here, so you don't have to worry about that option. None of this from this aspect here as collaborators only is open on the web. If for some stretch you put, Furman 2013 as your URL, and your friend got it, who wasn't on Box, who wasn't at Furman, who the file and folder hadn't been shared with, they would just get a page that said, you need to log in here, and then they'd log in, and then they wouldn't even have access to it if they had an account. If they didn't have an account, they'd set one up and get the same error. You can also collaborate with people off campus. These are people who may not even have a Box account, which is good, okay? So you can set a custom URL. You can come in and actually set a password. So I could share something with y'all. I could have it unshared tomorrow by noon and send y'all the password. Only you would have it, and you would have access to it. Now, I guess one issue with that would be is if you forward it to somebody with the password, okay? Because most of y'all probably don't have a Box account, or if you do, then you would still have to put in the password. So that's the point, I believe, for most people, of setting an expiration, again, the same window, and then setting restrictions. Okay, so you can turn downloading off. Now this is the open area. This is for anyone. What we're mainly dealing with are collaborators, which are local people, and then everyone with the Furman.edu email. From there are actually more permissions. If you click on Advanced Options, you get this window. Now, here are some of the deeper permissions. If you hover over the default, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's kind of the way it is an editor. An editor has all the power, okay? So people at Furman, when I teach this to people, I make clear to make sure the permissions, because I wouldn't want somebody to have that and then delete the file on accident. And when it's deleted, it goes into the trash on Box, and you have 30 days to get it out of there. They say after that they may be able to get it for you, but they're not confident, so people have to be aware of that. There are also co-owners, deep permissions here, viewer, uploader. All this is self-explanatory because we're educated people. Viewer, previewer. Okay, so one of the things that I think Fred was talking about, or within your discussion, was putting copyrighted material online. You can keep it, like I was saying just quickly back then, but behind the firewall, make it where they can't download it. They can just listen to it for the class. There are 2 professors using this right now. As many of you know, when you bring out new technology, which this is, some people are a little slow to adopt it, and you have those people saying that Dropbox, is easier and better. Yes, Dropbox is easier, but again, it has no security, and you can't tailor things like this. This is a real benefit. And then if you need people to upload, you can put a custom message in here, and again, once you have shared with somebody, there's Joe's name, he comes in. Had I not shared with him, his name wouldn't populate. I'd have to type it in. Some professors for their class who are using this, we've had to show them that they need to copy and paste all those emails in there because they said, I can't use this. I can't type 30 people in. Which is kind of funny because it's pretty easy to type, I believe. But
so
yes.
Why would a faculty member use this instead of your LMS?
Instead of Moodle? Okay, this actually ties into Moodle. We're implementing that now. There's an API to connect to Moodle. The difference is the size of the files. There's a 5 gig upload limit, so in Moodle it's much smaller than that. Unless they've changed it, I think it's a gig that we have that you can upload. So file size, security in this, like I said earlier, is a lot higher than anything that you're going to find in Moodle, and the fact that with this, the students can come in here. Let me back out of it. Just open it up. And let me go to one that has a file. Mainly the size.
So is your Moodle on campus or is it hosted?
It's on campus.
So you can control the file size that you allow to be uploaded.
Yeah, but they made it kind of small. Yeah, I mean,
that's a choice
to this.
But that's
yeah. I guess.
I was just going to say, with our Moodle, we handle it, our IT and the back end, and and the most that we can change it is 1.5 gigs. Now, you might be able to adjust it more, but from what I've been told,
Oh, is that right?
we can't with our version
Okay.
2.2.3.
Oh.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought I'm not the admin for Moodle. I
Yeah,
use it, but I know it's lower, and
Okay.
that was one of the main reasons, and the fact that the courses aren't always going to be there. I mean, you can archive courses with Moodle, but this is for personal and it's for work. That's one of the things that we try to stress. You don't have to use this to teach, but it's a true asset. So that was one of the other reasons. Students could put their music on, or like Joe was saying, he streams his MP3s from there.
Yeah, another benefit is the automatic sync feature. So if you're sharing with 50 people and you dump a 5 gig movie in here, which you can stream, you can also edit documents live inside of it. They'll automatically sync to whatever machines or devices you tell it to automatically sync with. So it acts just like a network share. You can share one folder with your entire department, or all students, or the web, or
Yeah, here's one that's shared with most of our department using Office 365, a Microsoft product, which is horrible for us on campus, of different ways to fix it. There are version histories here, so when you click on this has been shared with numerous people, but you can go back and see that who actually set it up, who made the edit. So you have Shepard there, Stratton there, Zolman there, and you can keep track of things better. And like Joe was saying, it's much easier for the type of work if you need to collaborate with something, not necessarily through a course. Okay, so from here, you can view different files. So I can edit from Box. You can install an app that comes with it called Box Edit. So when you click Edit, I've already installed it, but it's easy enough. This comes up. Now it supports co-authoring, but the way that it's different from Google Docs, you typically see that in real time. This you have to refresh it to see what it is. But all of us could be working on the same document at the same time. Now, as you see, I opened it. It automatically opened Excel. I didn't open that. I just clicked on the file. And then from here, if I just click Save As, which I just did, and this is network-based, it says that it's saving it back to Box. I could have obviously made changes, but all I did was do Save As. It kicks it right back up to Box with the changes. And back out of this. Close out of this, speed it up. Okay, so let's say that we need to work on, or I need to work on this file for the next month. I can sync this particular file to my computer. I install the GetSync app, similar to Dropbox. The main difference is when you install that Dropbox app, it syncs every single thing that you have to your computer. With this, when you install it, you come and pick and choose. You go, well, let me click here, and you go sync folder to computer. So I'm just syncing that one folder to my computer, and then from there, I can unsync it in a month and be done with it and get it off my computer without having everything on there. The GetSync folder itself is right here. I have 2 Box accounts. I have a personal and Furman. This is my Furman one. If you click here, these are all the folders that I have synced right now. I had more a couple weeks ago, but I haven't synced them. I don't need them locally on my computer. What you can do from here is copy and paste files into this. If I was to go in and drag a file locally off of my hard drive into that Finder window, it would take it off my hard drive. So I always tell people you got to copy and paste in there. The main difference that you're going to find between using the web and the GetSync app, you cannot upload folders to the web version. It will not allow, let's say you have a folder with subfolders, all these folders, you can't do that on the web version, but if you use this version, you can copy it and put it in there with all your subfolder directories and every single file you have, and then it will sync in real time. Up here is, and I want to stress this is the same on Windows. I'm just using the Mac, okay? Because you're using the web, It's the same, it looks exactly the same, and then the Finder window on your Windows, you're going to use your Explorer window locally, you're going to see the same thing. Like Joe was saying, every computer that you would put GetSync on, these files would be there, and obviously any computer you get on and go to furman.box.com and log in, those files would be there for you. There's also an iPad app, an Android app, and I'll say right now that I've complained to them a lot about this, that the app for the iPad and iPhone is not nearly as robust as it should be, and they say that they're developing one, so if anyone's used that before, you may know what I'm talking about. But that's something that they're fixing to make it work as well as this works. Okay, so let me scroll down and find something. So here's a default sync folder. Let's say on your phone that you're taking a snapshot of something that you need for work. You can easily copy it back into your default sync folder, and then it shows right back up here. It is truly that simple. Here's a .mov. Pops it up. Click it. Now this is bandwidth based, but I mean, point being that you can stream from here. If you have a list of movies, a list of audio, you can set it to autoplay, and it'll just go through them. And like the permissions that I was talking about, if you set those correctly, you can keep it behind your firewall. People cannot download it. You can use it for your course. And it will connect with Moodle, and I believe it will connect with Blackboard too. They said that. We don't use Blackboard anymore, but it does work with that. Everything is encrypted, like I was saying, so if there was some sort of issue, they wouldn't see what your actual files were. Joe and I are from South Carolina, and about a year ago, they hacked into our servers and got a bunch of people's social security numbers and credit cards. They had no encryption on that. Had they used Box, obviously, they wouldn't have gotten anything, which is kind of bizarre to think about.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, here you can see your updates across the board. Okay, now for each folder you can look at it, but this is just a quick scan to see. This is a folder I created. This is one of the ones that I edited. Scrolling down, you can see what people worked on. There's ITS has something, they're doing people's pictures now, so these are folders, show when they were updated. Okay, one of the other things I was talking about was just basically interacting. So here you see a bunch of comments that students can come in here, and a professor, I teach a couple of courses at Furman, and I use Box in my course, and then they can come in and put their initial reaction to the piece that they've heard, or after they've looked at the score, things that stood out to them, and they can come in and add it in real time. All of these were put in real time, and you can create quite a dialogue. I can add in things, tasks that I want people to do. I can put in metadata based on the file, which helps it when you're searching. You just come in and add tags. These are some tags that I've added recently, and from there I share that with somebody. Those tags move over with them. And you can see how some of them are here, and it relates right back. This is great for the training I do. I have to do a lot of training for ITS. Instead of printing, I'm just definitely getting away from that, because a lot of the stuff I teach about is like Adobe InDesign, Photoshop, Premiere, stuff that's very intensive, and I can give them, a 100-page PDF and just put it on here. If they want to print that, they can print it. That's fine. But at the same time, it's easier because, one, you don't have to print. They have immediate access to it, and they can just preview it from here. And if it's something, like I said earlier, that I don't want them to download, then I can just block them from downloading it. Now, if it's a picture, like a score, and it's a one-page score of Amazing Grace or something, you could screenshot it, obviously, and you could get it. That's something that we can't control. But If it's a real file, a real class, I mean, it's going to be more than that, and I really don't believe people are going to go through that kind of trouble. Scrolling down, music librarian candidate videos, we're hiring a new music librarian, and it's simple. The people on the committee got shared a folder, the videos are in there. If you missed the live thing, you could go back and watch it. I mean, there are a myriad of ways to use this. It's like a local share, but at least for us, we bypass VPN. All right, that's a pretty decent overview. Does anyone have any specific questions about how to use it?
Do you know how much you paid?
I think it's $36,000.
36 grand for the entire institution annually?
Yeah, I think it is. But that may seem like a lot, but it is a real benefit for a lot of people. Again, because you have more space, you have encryption, bypass VPN, you have 50 gigs of space. On a share, I mean, ask Joe, to get 50 gigs on a share, a local share, you're asking for a lot.
Fred has discussed too the possibility of this replacing our network shares, or at least in large part, which would save us money on the back end.
No, I understood.
Yeah.
But HIPAA information you cannot put on here.
Yeah, I saw you had that Category 1 information that's not allowed. Can you go back and show us what the definition of that Category 1 information is?
Yeah, back out. FERPA information you can put on, HIPAA you cannot. Okay. This is a simple breakdown. Now, when we first started using it, we were getting a lot of emails about security because admissions, there's another, the disability services. I mean, certain people cannot use this on campus. I mean, there's a small portion who really wanted to, and I met with a couple groups, and we just determined through me and through systems and through Box that they really shouldn't put it on there. So the security even comes in front of what we're doing, and we probably had 10 or 12 people contact us about this.
So in fact, I mean, this is really the data that I'm most worried about people making sure that they use VPN for. So
the data's blocked.
The data that I can't use here. Exactly. So one of the benefits of this is you don't have to use VPN, but then the majority of the data that you're looking at, I wouldn't care whether you don't use VPN. It's this level 1 data that I care that you use VPN.
Exactly, and that's one. I mean, Fred Miller, our CIO, that's what Joe was referring to, has said that he may want to get rid of the shares. And I've always said no, that we can't, because I always reference back to this, and you just can't get rid of local shares. And I know he understands that, but the vision, I believe, everything in the cloud like that, but you really can't. And that's something that we've had to stress. And Disability Services, for example, really wanted to use this, and we looked a bunch of different ways, and they can't. You can actually get the code from your folder, another feature, and embed that in your web page. So you could have a form, a PDF form, link back to Box, embed that in your web page. People fill out the form, it'll take it right back to Box. So I know Admissions is using it that way, but again, that's not using any HIPAA information. It's more FERPA stuff, personal.
Did you do training sessions for people?
Yeah, I'm still doing it. I'm the main one doing them. I find it very easy to use, but I'm doing most of those. Yeah.
But for the permissions and stuff, it seems like people would really want to know what all of those choices do.
Yeah, and I'll even get calls about something that people want to do, and I'll create folders and share them and see where it breaks off on what they particularly want to do. One department, there's actually a widget for it, is using that, and we set the permissions on the widget so she can just put the files in there. But it was kind of a bear because it was hard to get the permissions that this user wanted based on these folders from here without using the widget. So, I mean, some people are getting very deep with it, but it's a situation where the School of Education will send Fred, our CIO, an email about training. Fred will ask me to go do it. I mean, I've done it for almost every department on campus. And it's kind of the same thing because people need to use it. And the bizarre part is a lot of people still don't know we have it. I did training about 2 weeks ago, and half the people didn't even know what I was talking about. And then I showed them, and it was like, wow. And I said, you know, you can put whatever you want on. The real innovative looking people are using it for their classes to teach. And you can do it interdepartmental, share with colleagues off campus, and like I showed you earlier, set all those permissions, or just use it for your family photos or whatever it is that you want to do. At 50 gigs of space, unless you're putting a bunch of movies on there that are huge, you have a lot of free space. Any other? Yeah.
We just switched to Qualtrics, which you guys may have used for a long time for your surveys. But one of the huge advantages of Qualtrics is how easy it is to collaborate, to set up a survey and then invite 3 or 4 other people to work with it. And so that was my first reaction, was how easy it is to set permissions.
Yeah.
We use a lot of folders on a network server, a shared server. I don't know, you're using the word local shares, and I'm not sure I really understand what you're
local member in their house.
But we just have these servers that have been used for decades. And there are probably things on there that could have been deleted 9.5 years ago, and yet they're not really allocated to a specific person, and so they just kind of go on forever. That's another thing I really like about this is that ultimately it's the user's responsibility to figure out what they can delete when they start to run out of space.
Yes.
As opposed to, we have a server called Louise Biology. Who knows who set up the Bio 109 folder?
Yeah, and
so I like it a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you control it. One of the things, and I know we've done this for two departments maybe, but it hasn't been rolled out, is departments having their own share. The issue with this is connected to Active Directory, and it's connected to me. It's connected to you, not to music, not to art. Fred has worked it out where 1 or 2 departments are doing that through a user, but in some instances, like there's a music course that I helped set up with somebody. He gave that particular user more space to do the sharing since she was having to take the brunt of her account to house all the music. And then at the end of the semester, she just takes it back down and then gets her space back.
What happens when students graduate or people leave and they want their files
gone?
Can they take their files before they leave?
They can. That's something we went back and forth about that, but it was going to cost too much money for them to maintain that. But because originally that's what we wanted to do. Students, you can have this for your rest of your life. No, they have, I think it's 45 days. They can get a free Box account. You can just drag your files over, or you get your Dropbox, put them on your local computer, but it's gone.
You have to export before you leave.
Yeah, you got to get your stuff out of there or you'll lose it. That was a big deal, and at one point we had said students can have it forever, but at the last minute when we looked at the cost, it was like, no way.
Now, if an employee, for example, is terminated or leaves suddenly, firm takes ownership of that folder and all the contents.
Yeah, almost immediately. The second that they take away their network account, right? Email's locked out, this is locked out.
All right, I think we need to move on. So thank you very much, Michael.
Yeah.
And Jessica?
Oh, this is an even fight. This is light heavy.
Barefoot. Watch out for those head kicks.
Oh, I should just go slow-mo. That one, last round. Last round.
First ball, last round. I want y'all to be respectful. Y'all see y'all in a situation where y'all get ready to throw wild punches and the next man's too close and it might be a headbutt for you. Keep your hands up at all times. No punching below the belt. Guard your gloves at all times. Always be prepared for the unexpected. Tap gloves and go to your neutral corner and come out fight. Round 1, light heavyweights, let's get it. They did.
Oh, I don't like the way. Oh no. Oh no. He has a stance, ladies and gentlemen. I come from the hood. Whole world. Whole world. Let's go. My nigga got that what's up. He got that what's up stance. Like, what's up, bro?
Use the jam, use the jam, goddammit.
Oh. I know you didn't want to do it.
Some shit, you gotta eat straight.
He said he should go. He went in the swing. He tried to set him up.
Down. Block it with your hands. Put your hands. Let's get me Jesus make that wrong swing. It's over.
No, you ain't got no shoes on, but try to bounce around, move around, man. Can't be flat foot. I mean, shit. I don't even know how to say it. Let's just go to him. He got on sneakers.
He said you got on sneakers.
Pointed from his girlfriend.
You know how hard it was to get those? I was up 752. 759 it came, huh? How much on it? It was only 150 when it came out. All Jordans is 150, probably the most 170. 8 o'clock. Matter of fact, 7:59, 59 seconds. They said they were sold out. 4-8. Huh?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's all sponsored by Sprite. Drink Sprite.
Who's sponsoring this fight right now? She said Red Bull. Chill, we would have had a ring for Red Bull. Virgin Mobile, what's the name of the trash can? Recycle. Sponsored by Recycle Trash Can. No. It's like all over the place. Who's not sponsorship? Union Square Partnership. Go to their website. My man Tada. I hope this is not a racial thing, like, oh, there's a black guy up there, all right, I want to go. I want to beat the black guy up. Same thing for him, I want to beat the white guy up. No racial. Commercial break? 4 minutes in, man. Commercial. I don't know how much longer I can do this. This is crazy, though. The reason why I'm saying this is crazy because you got a bunch of corporate people like. Commercial break.
I literally thought this.
You know what I'm talking about? That's the music. I haven't even seen the most bar. Niggas ain't worried about this. Got it. No, Daddy, I'm
Hey, yo, Bobby, man. Oh, man, look at you. Hey, look at you guys. Y'all come over here with goodies and of course in a ring. Don't you know people be hungry? I hope you enjoy, little mama. You have a good day, okay? Yo, gentlemen, come to the center of the ring, please. Yeah.
Oh. Live again.
Round 2, tap gloves and protect yourself at all times. Let's go.
Mr. Funny.
Let's go. Come on, keep that jab back. Let's break, let's go. Mama, always block the mix, let's go.
That's what I'm talking about. Never mind two fights like that.
Same thing, bro. Same thing. Same thing.
Yo, bro, Jay, that's it. Just set him up like that, buddy.
Watch the face. Watch the face. Yeah, don't swing that ball. Oh.
Leave by half a second.
There you go. Watch left. Nice. Don't y'all think about turkey? Back up.
That's it, yo. Body jab all day.
Once you hit the body, the head goes wrong. They don't know that. Hands up, y'all. Put that in your face, man. Fight. And you gotta swing hard all the time. Hit that body. Block it. Oh, boy.
Sarai, keep them hands up.
Time. Oh, boy. Someone give me that time, man.
Tada, you gotta keep him up, man. To your left. You wanna look at me? Okay. he's grinding that. Okay. Caught him good, huh? Make sure it's Jay's because it's swimming in the wall. Alright, they good, buddy.
Wait. Hold up, wait. Yeah. This is worth it. Stop. Where you
he
at
said
right
this
now?
is worth it. Yeah, you can't do no shit like this on a subway train. That'd be very difficult.
I'm across the Whole Foods watching the boxing match. That's right, hold your right hand back. I'm out here in front of I'm across the Whole Foods watching a boxing match right now. You guys get out here. Oh, easy. Nice block.
Oh, whoa.
Let's go.
I'm watching my tapes.
Left right. Up, down, square, triangle, square, X. Up, down, square, triangle,
You yelling out Street Fighter moves? You serious? Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're about to see our Ryukin. Alright, we commercial break. Hands up.
Alors, la différence entre la boxe française et le kickboxing, c'est la distance. Car on peut taper avec les tibias en kickboxing qu'on ne peut pas faire avec la boxe française. Nous sommes pieds nus et on travaille beaucoup position assise au sol pour taper et être puissant. Et évidemment, on peut reprendre le déplacement de boxe française pour justement se déplacer et éviter les coups.
C'est vrai qu'en boxe française, c'est une discipline où on distribue énormément de coups, on est toujours en mouvement, on est très mobile. C'est un sport très technique. En boxe thaï, on travaille beaucoup plus en puissance, la technique elle est différente, mais on est un peu moins mobile. Donc physiquement, on se dépense un peu moins, c'est différent. C'est vrai qu'au départ, j'affectionnais pas trop les saisies, les coups de genoux et tout ça. Et puis petit à petit, en m'entraînant, en m'amusant, j'y ai pris goût. Et puis en compétition, bah, ça se passait très bien, quoi.
Il y en a qui veulent abandonner, les gars? Il y en a qui veulent abandonner? Non? Faut le dire alors. 20 secondes avant la reprise.
Pour être un bon fouleur, il faut avoir de bonnes jambes et une bonne anglaise.
En ce qui concerne le kickboxing, le mental, le physique et beaucoup de rigueur à l'entraînement.
Avoir un bon mental, être très physique, cardio, etc. Et puis la technique, elle vient en troisième lieu. Et voilà, il faut regrouper justement tous ces paramètres-là pour être un très bon boxeur.
En boxe thaï, il faut être dur au mal. Il faut être dur au mal parce que ça a été un gros travail pour moi justement de travailler les automatismes donc pour bloquer. Parce que dans les anciennes disciplines, c'était interdit. Donc c'était un gros travail pour moi et beaucoup de souffrance en entraînement. Lors des compétitions, pour moi, c'est un peu ma cour de récréation.
Le premier à passer sur la balance est Frédéric Belloni.
84 kilos.
Bravo, bravo Fred.
Voilà, la préparation des boxeurs, j'ai du mal à comprendre. Il faut être au poids la veille et après le lendemain on s'en fout quoi, faut bouffer.
Ah oui, le lendemain il faut prendre des kilos quand même, pour avoir la patate.
Tu vois, même après la pizza, tu vois, ça reste là. Hein.
En France, on a un problème avec la boxe en général, que ce soit la boxe anglaise ou la boxe pied-point, on a un souci avec ces disciplines. Le monde du pied-point n'est pas reconnu en France, pas comme aux États-Unis ou en Hollande ou au Japon.
Ça a l'appellation boxe professionnelle, mais je veux dire, on n'en vit pas, on est obligé de travailler je veux dire, à côté, donc comme moi je le fais.
On n'oublie pas qu'on est des grands champions français, Marcel Cerdan, on a Jean-Claude Boutier. Et à l'époque, dans les années 50, la boxe c'était comme le football.
Tu dis c'est trop serré.
Dans le vestiaire, vous êtes un petit peu le roi, entre guillemets, puisque tout le monde s'occupe de vous pour mettre toutes les chances de votre côté.
T'as pas fait venir rien, faux.
Ça va, t'abuses.
Faut rentrer longtemps.
Plaisir de te voir. Ça va bien?
Dans les coulisses, c'est la tension surtout. Le stress qui se passe, la tension entre les boxeurs. Il faut être boxeur pour vivre ça et pour sentir toute cette tension qu'il y a autour.
Le plus gros était déjà fait à la salle et comme un pianiste en fait. Comme un pianiste. On refait les gammes, on se remet dans le combat, on s'échauffe.
Son partenaire du KFBC l'appelle le Bruce Lee rincé. L'entrée dans le coin rouge de Lionel Picard.
qui accélère.
C'est bien, jusqu'au bout. Jusqu'au bout.
Allez, le balayage.
Avec le panache, c'est bien ça.
Et le crochet du gauche. Et fin de ce championnat du monde avec le panache de Lionel Piton.
Quand j'étais plus jeune, je disais, est-ce que je pourrais être champion du monde? Jamais, à 24 ans, je me serais jamais dit, je serais champion du monde à 32 piges. Et je pense que le fait d'être champion du monde assez tard, c'est encore plus fort pour moi. À partir de 25 ans, en général, les boxeurs arrêtent et moi, je continue l'aventure, donc je prends d'autant plus de plaisir.
La victoire, elle est extraordinaire. Que ce soit un premier combat ou un combat très important, à partir du moment où on gagne, bon, c'est vrai qu'il y a toujours le prestige du titre, mais quand on gagne, c'est sa victoire et on la mérite. Et c'est vraiment un bon moment.
C'est un gros travail. On se souvient des premiers coups de poing qu'on mettait dans un sac et ça qui est fort, quoi.
Pour être champion du monde, il n'y a pas vraiment de secret parce que bon, tout le monde sait que pour gagner des combats, pour être champion, c'est l'hygiène de vie, c'est l'assiduité à l'entraînement, c'est tout le travail fourni. Moi, je suis un peu perfectionniste, j'essaie vraiment de me surpasser, même fatigué à l'entraînement, j'essaie vraiment de faire ma séance, je veux dire, à fond, de le terminer.
Je me répète assez souvent, mais la clé, c'est l'entraînement. Aussi, encore une fois, le plaisir, puisque on ne va pas à l'entraînement en traînant les pieds, on y va de bon cœur. Donc après, ça suit et dès qu'il y a l'enthousiasme, c'est plus facile. Je
verrais ça plutôt comme adopter une hygiène de vie. Parce que pour moi, aujourd'hui, bon, c'est plus un sacrifice, on fait un choix. C'est un mode de vie, c'est une hygiène de vie, quoi.
Et le plus important quand on est champion, c'est de le rester. Et c'est le plus dur aussi. Il y a pas mal d'adversaires qui veulent justement vous prendre votre titre. Donc c'est là où il faut être encore plus fort qu'au départ.
Et s'il y a une défaite, c'est de la remise en question, c'est des conseils à nouveau pour les prochains combats. Parce que pour gagner, il faut savoir perdre. Donc voilà.
C'est une revanche pour le Français, Cédric Anad.
Voilà les deux hommes face à face, Cédric Anad, short bleu, Giannis Sophocleous, short noir. Le grec Giannis Sophocleous, 78 combats, 73 victoires, 50 avant la limite. C'est un homme qui frappe, comme vous le disiez. Cédric Anad, 27 combats, 23 victoires, 5 avant la limite. C'est plus un boxeur qui construit. Et c'est parti.
Sur le ring, on réfléchit plus, c'est tous les automatismes qui reviennent à la surface.
C'est Cédric Anad qui s'est installé au milieu du ring, qui a décidé peut-être de jouer les patrons en ce début de combat et toujours ce travail de sac sur les low kicks et sur les jambes du grec. Il a été cueilli, Cédric Anad, il va pas revenir, il va pas pouvoir revenir.
Perdre au point, c'est une chose. Et perdre comme ça après 3 mois de boulot, il faut vivre avec, quoi. Après, je m'inquiète pas pour Cédric, parce qu'il a un gros mental et il va se remettre de ça, mais moi, il va me falloir du temps pour m'en remettre, parce que... Et voilà, quoi. Et puis on se dit, ça annule. J'ai presque l'impression que ça annule ce qu'on a fait avant, quoi. Parce qu'on reste là-dessus.
Ah, ça va, allez, ça fait le maximum. Écoute-moi, c'est pas grave, moi, tu sais quoi, tout va bien. Et voilà, il a eu la petite carrière, on est passé par de bons moments. Franchement, sincèrement, je le prends très très bien. Ça fait partie de la boxe et je te remercie pour tout ce que tu as fait pour moi, tout ce qu'on a fait ensemble. Et on sera toujours ensemble.
On est seul quand on boxe, mais réellement, il y a toute une équipe. Donc c'est quand même un sport collectif. J'ai eu le titre, je l'ai perdu. La page est tournée, on en ouvre une autre et pour moi c'est un nouvel objectif. Et quand on parlait de flamme, je l'ai parce que je suis encore là aujourd'hui.
Welcome to another edition of Who's Number One. I'm Trey Wingo. Let's face it, fight night, electric. Unlike any other night in sports, you can smell bloodlust in the air, the adrenaline, the anticipation, the sweat. And if you're lucky, it lives up to all the hype and reminds us why boxing is indeed called the sweet science. Look, there have been thousands of forgettable fights, but a handful of great ones. To that end, ESPN Classic has ranked the 20 best fights of all time.
2020.
On September 22nd, 1927, Chicago's Soldier Field was overflowing with more than 100,000 fans for the rematch between heavyweight champ Gene Tunney and the man whose title he had taken, the legendary Jack Dempsey.
Special trains coming from both coasts, day and night, in the days leading up to the fight.
Irving Berlin, George M. Cohan, and everybody else that had a name in America was sitting 10 or 15 rows back at that fight.
Tunney was at his peak. Tunney had been doing a lot of fighting. He was ready. He was in fine shape. He was tuned, and he wasn't afraid. Tunney was a very brave man. He knew what he was doing in the ring.
Dempsey, who was a tremendous puncher, tremendous finisher, good hand speed, too.
The referee kept waving at him to move over, and when he finally did, time on the timekeeper's clock was 5 seconds.
The rules had been changed before this bout, requiring the man who scored the knockdown to retreat to a neutral corner. Before that, a fighter could remain coiled and ready to pounce.
You could stand right over him, you know, like a street fight, waiting for him to get up. Dempsey didn't become the Manasseh Mauler for being a genteel guy in the boxing ring. Once he dropped Tunney, I just think he completely forgot.
Instead of starting on 6, he started on 1, 2.
I've seen that movie hundreds of times. He was knocked out. If you've ever been knocked out, you can come out of it like that. And it was 4 seconds that he needed to come out of it.
A resilient Tunney recuperated between rounds and then boxed his way to another 10-round unanimous decision.
LaMotta was the first guy to beat Ray Robinson, and you know, Ray Robinson never forgave him. Obviously, he just kept beating him up after that.
On February 14th, 1951 in Chicago, in a middleweight title fight that became known as boxing's St. Valentine's Day Massacre, old adversaries Sugar Ray Robinson and Jake LaMotta fought for the 6th and final time. Robinson won for the 5th time, but he still couldn't knock down the defiant Raging Bull.
Robinson knew that LaMotta was having trouble making weight, and his strategy going into the fight was to make LaMotta work, to tire himself out in the early rounds.
Every time the referee breaks him, he backs off so far that Jake has to waddle after him. What he's going to do is take the legs out from under Jake.
By the 10th round, LaMotta was at a gas. LaMotta makes a last desperate stand. He bulls Robinson into a corner. He throws everything he's got at Robinson. And then Robinson comes out of the corner blazing, and the fight turns right there.
He threw a left hook, right hand, left hook.
that so fast that it was like one punch.
No man could endure this pummeling.
Ray was unleashing everything on him.
LaMotta at this moment, a tired battler, a chopping block.
The referee stopped the fight in the 13th round while I was still on my feet with Robinson pounding me up against the ropes. If the referee held up another 30 seconds, Robinson would have collapsed from hitting me.
Jake never went down, and he was very proud of that.
Jake LaMotta was against the ropes. I mean, if you see Jake, he's like this and he's like that in the ropes. I mean, he was beat up, and that's one of my favorite scenes from the movie Raging Bull. He's like, "Couldn't put me down, Ray."
He could knock me down.
You need a great storyline to start with to have a great fight in the end.
George Foreman was a bully and a villain. He was also heavyweight champ when he faced 7-1 underdog Muhammad Ali in Kinshasa, Zaire on October 30th, 1974, in a fight that went down as the Rumble in the Jungle.
We got off the plane, they were saying Ali Boumaier, Ali killer.
Ali's greatest hour.
First round, Ali goes up on his toe. Bang! Hits him with that first shot. Now, what does Foreman do? Cuts the ring off. Ali goes back on the ropes.
The whole time we were there, all we did was had sparring partners pressing him to the rope so he could spin this way, spin that way.
I hit him hard in the side. I mean, I got a good shot. And he said, "Is that all you got, George?" And I remember thinking, yep, that's about it.
It was a huge, brilliant gamble, but one that could have backfired on him very easily.
When Ali knocked him down and knocked him out, he said it was the hardest he had ever been hit.
17.
Most important sporting event of the 20th century by far.
Even non-sports fans were glued to the radio.
On June 22nd, 1938, 2 years after Germany's Max Schmeling had scored a 12th-round knockout of Joe Louis, more than 70,000 crammed into Yankee Stadium for the rematch. It was a fight for Louis's heavyweight championship and for so much more.
No fighter, in my opinion, has ever had the pressure that those two guys had on them that night, because it was not a boxing match. It was a fight about the two ways the world was going to go.
Louis measured him, right to the body, a left up to the jaw, and Schmeling is down.
It's not like Louis wanted a great back-and-forth action fight and found redemption. It's that, no, I understand you have your theories about Aryan supremacy, but let's talk about American supremacy. Black, white, whatever. It was the good guys. I'm not saying Schmeling was a bad guy, but he clearly represented the bad guys. Not just the bad guys, but the worst who ever lived.
He's going in to fight a guy who destroyed him when the first time they fought.
It was Joe Louis's greatest hour.
No fighter could have rushed at his prey faster than Joe Louis went after the unfortunate Max Schmeling.
The mismatch ended after just 2 minutes, 4 seconds of the first round.
He gave that German such a shellacking. Put him in a hospital for a week.
16.
4 blood-spattered times the two Tigers fought each other, Willie Pep and Sandy Sadler, for the featherweight title. Their most memorable was number 2 on February 11th, 1949 in Madison Square Garden. Brutal as usual, and Pep's only win in the series, a unanimous 15-round decision.
If you want to take a kid and teach him how to violate every rule of boxing, you want to watch the second Pep Sadler fight. They need each other, and they hit low, and they hit high.
It was the greatest piece of boxing I've ever seen on the part of Willie Pep. He was fighting a man, Sandy Sadler, who was very dirty, and he knew all the tricks. And not only was he fighting him and boxing him and outboxing him and doing all his beautiful tricks, he was an artist in the ring. But he was doing it with one eye closed.
Sadler was a freak in the featherweight division. You know, just a huge guy and a huge puncher. Really the wisp, you know, he really couldn't break an egg. But he could box your ears off. And he really knew how to be the boss in that ring. He really used every inch of that ring when he had to. A fight that should go down in history, something we should pay attention to.
When it comes to who's number...
I'd look across at Evander Holyfield and I'd feel sorry for his opponent. Not that his opponent was necessarily going to lose, but he would find out about you. He was going to take you to hell.
On November 13th, 1992, in Las Vegas, Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield, each undefeated, descended into fistic Hades to determine the heavyweight title. Bowe, the 9-5 underdog, decked the champ in the 11th while pounding out a one-sided 12-round unanimous decision.
Riddick Bowe was a terrific boxer, big man, great boxing skill. Here were two really tough guys.
Bowe had Holyfield reeling across the ring, going back and forth. Holyfield was out on his feet, and then Bowe got tired, and Holyfield came back and started throwing hooks and uppercuts, and bam, bam, bam.
Riddick Bowe, we knew he was a good specimen, the new prototypical heavyweight, the great Eddie Futch with him. A lot of people didn't think he had the most important thing, the heart, to overcome a tough fight. And who's he fighting? A warrior. What did he do right in front of you? He became all the things that people thought maybe he could be if he was really going to put it together and be that man.
They brought the dog out in each other, and they came to just do their business.
For the winner by unanimous decision and new heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick Bowe!
Sugar Ray Leonard could dance on the ceiling. Thomas Hearns punched like thunder. On September 16, 1981, in Las Vegas, they met to unify the welterweight title. It was billed as Super Fight, and it was.
I didn't think my brother could beat no Tommy Hearns. 6'1", long reach.
I was very shocked because I never saw him hurt. Instead of the hitman, then Thomas Hearns became the boxer, and Ray Leonard became the hunter.
Hearns in trouble, no question about it, and Sugar senses it.
Hearns wasn't beating people. He was knocking them half dead, senseless. Bang, and guys are falling like trees. So as a little kid, I remember feeling scared for Ray Leonard going in, because you identify. You're in the ring with Tommy Hearns. He's 6'2". 78-inch reach, not much shorter than Larry Holmes' reach or Muhammad Ali's reach. He's a welterweight. Can hit you from across the ring.
Tommy's Hearns' chin wasn't as good as Leonard. And so Tommy was outside, bah, 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 throwing your right hand, just tagging Leonard, tagging Leonard, tagging Leonard.
Tommy Hearns was a bang-banger, you know? If you kept your chin in front, you were in deep trouble. The quickness of Ray overcame the strength of Hearns. But Hearns was a whacker, good whacker.
Trailing after 12 rounds, Leonard knocked down Hearns twice in the 13th and finished him off in the next round.
That's it. Sugar Ray Leonard has won by a technical knockout.
13-13. On September 23, 1952, in Philadelphia, unbeaten Rocky Marciano went after the heavyweight title of Jersey Joe Walcott, who was told at every turn that he had no chance.
Rock would take two to throw one, and he always counted on his power. He always had faith in his power, and his power prevailed.
Marciano couldn't lay a glove on Jersey Joe Walcott because of Jersey Joe's artistic ring talent.
Two of them came out making moves, and all of a sudden Walcott threw that hook, and down went Rocky on his hands and knees.
Down from a left hook.
A lot of fighters, when they get knocked down and cut the first time, fall apart emotionally. Marciano got tougher.
Because I was talking to Rocky after the fight, and I says, could you see the guy at all, Rock? He says, snap for 3 or 4 rounds. All I could see was a shadow.
In the 12th round, Walcott gave Marciano such a beating that I didn't think Rocky would be able to come out for the 13th round.
Marciano was behind on all 3 scorecards. He maneuvered Walcott to the ropes in the 13th round.
I was hollering, Lollapalooza, Rock, Lollapalooza, and then all of a sudden, bang.
He fell flat in his face, thought it killed him. People in the audience were just amazed.
Marciano had his own little genius that I think made him special. He started the left hand, just to take the eye of Walcott off his right hand. Just started, bam, and he shot the right hand. And he nailed a great fighter, Walcott, when he had to, with that power, with that Suzy Q.
Larry Holmes and WBC champ Ken Norton were regarded as something of lightweights when on June 9, 1978 in Las Vegas, they met for the heavyweight title. They delivered a fearsome 15-round performance that enhanced the reputations of both and was decided by a split decision.
You didn't know who won it at the end. It was fierce.
This was the first time we got a chance to see how tough Larry Holmes was.
They could have fought the last round. Two exhausted guys who had given everything in a phone booth. And there'd have been no glass left in that booth, I'll tell you that much. I mean, those guys were really fighting. That's a great fight.
Unfortunately, people sometimes do not give it the respect and the attention that it deserves and that those two fighters deserve because of what they put into that fight. First of all, one of the last 15-round fights. Both guys knew that what that 15th round was going to represent. They understood it came down to that, and they gave everything.
Larry Holmes had to win the last round to win the fight, and actually Norton won the last round, and Holmes just won the last 15 seconds, and they gave it to Holmes, which gave him the title.
11. On January 24th, 1976, after losing the Rumble in the Jungle 15 months earlier, George Foreman returned to the ring in Las Vegas. He brought his sledgehammer fist with him. So did his opponent, Ron Lyle. Two locomotives collided head-on. Foreman was knocked down twice, but hammered out a fifth-round KO.
It's one thing to see a guy go down, get up, and fight on. It's another thing to see a guy go down, get up, and fight on and win.
When you were a kid, yo-yo was your toy. I mean, you want to see this fight down, up, down, up.
Ron Lyle was this chiseled, tough guy.
George Foreman's a monster. 6'4". You know, at the time then he was like 225, pure muscle ripped.
It was two lumberjacks just, you know, chopping each other down.
It hurt to watch.
Lyle was a here-I-am fighter. George was a here-I-am fighter. They could have held the thing in a phone booth. That's all the room they needed.
I would say that George was a mauler. He depended on his brute strength with both hands to take his opponent down as fast as he could.
Both fighters, Foreman and Lyle, were on the deck in that fight in a way that made you think, the fight's over.
I remember it being called the elevator fight because they were up and down. I mean, they were just up and down so much, both guys.
It's Sid back. Welcome back to Who's Number One. In this edition, we're counting down the 20 greatest fights of all time. Before we get to the final 10, here's the list so far.
20.
Gene Tunney, Jack Dempsey, the long count.
19.
Sugar Ray Robinson, Jake LaMotta, number 6.
18.
Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Rumble in the Jungle.
17.
Joe Louis, Max Schmeling, More Than a Fight.
16.
Willie Pep, Sandy Sadler, number 2 of 4.
15.
Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, Battle of the Unbeatens.
14.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Big Rally.
13.
Rocky Marciano, Jersey Joe Walter, One Big Punch.
12.
Larry Holmes, Ken Norton, Eye Opener.
11.
George Foreman, Ron Lyle, Timber. And now we resume our countdown of the best SmackDowns. Number 10 on the list.
10. 10.
I remember watching it on tape and just thinking, oh my God, it's an all-time beatdown by both fighters.
Carmen Basilio could take a punch. Boy, could he take a punch. On June 10th, 1955, Basilio took scores of punches from welterweight champ Tony DeMarco. In the 10th round, Basilio began to give what he had been receiving, scoring 2 knockdowns and then a 12th round TKO.
To beat Carmen Basilio, you had to hit him with a plank. This guy was great.
DeMarco, he had one advantage physically over Basilio. He could punch like hell.
Tony DeMarco hit me in the chin. The only guy that ever staggered me. He hit me in the chin with a left hook that I saw coming from a mile away, and I never made an attempt to put my hand up to block it or anything. And I staggered like a drunk man for a few seconds.
Somehow he just stopped. His backside was like inches from the freaking, and he just stopped like he was sitting in a chair. He just refused to allow himself to go where gravity was taking him. And that was the turning point of the fight, because DeMarco had hit him his Sunday punch.
You know how your foot goes to sleep, you got them little pins and needles? Well, they were this long on the bottom of his foot, and the whole 60-second rest, I just kept stamping my leg to bring it back.
Basilio was a guy that, boy, they should put his face next to tough. He was a little underrated as far as being clever. He'd roll his head, do things like that. Boy, what a chin he had. I think mentally, not just physically, mentally, that somehow started to evaporate some things that were inside the head of Tony DeMarco.
Left and right to the jaw, and the referee steps in and stops the fight. DeMarco is out.
9.
Alexis Arguello had methodically mowed his way through one division after another. On November 12, 1982, in Miami's Orange Bowl, he found Aaron Pryor, the WBA junior welterweight champ, standing between him and history.
Arguello's won 3 weight class championships, and he's moving up for a 4th. And had Aaron Pryor not been there, we would be talking about Alexis Arguello as, you know, a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter.
Alexis Arguello was this gentleman. He was tall, he was statuesque, he was good-looking, he had a great jab, he was a terrific fighter. Aaron Pryor, on the other hand, was a street urchin from Cincinnati, and he was just one tough little SOB.
How did Aaron Pryor walk through those right hands? Because Arguello was hitting him with punches, with right hands that weren't just hitting him. You ever hear a trainer say punch through the target? He was punching through Pryor's face.
You thought you knew more about Arguello. He had that classical straight up a little bit, which could hurt him a little bit because you could find him a little bit, but people loved that classical set. They felt comfortable with it. I don't know if he'll be on time. That's kind of how you felt about Pryor. I don't know if he's going to be on time. I don't know if I can rely on him. He's not something that we feel secure about. We kept waiting for him not to be reliable. We kept waiting for Arguello to put the lights out on his party. So bing, catch him with the right hand and say, okay, see, we told you. And it never happened.
Pryor, a 2-to-1 underdog, dashed Arguello's dreams with a 14th round knockout.
8.
It's rare to have 2 undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champions.
On March 8, 1971, in Madison Square Garden, in what was billed as the fight of the century, Muhammad Ali sought to reclaim the heavyweight championship that had been stripped from him for refusing military induction. The title was held by the redoubtable Joe Frazier. Thus began an epic rivalry.
The first Ali-Frazier fight in 1971 was the biggest sports spectacle since the second Tunney Dempsey fight 44 years earlier.
Frazier was fast and hard and relentless, and Ali was still a beautiful fighter to watch, but was a little bigger, a little heavier, not quite as elusive, and it was just enough that Frazier could get on him and stay on him.
Ali looked at Frazier as the sellout, guy had sold out to the white establishment.
For him to be viewed as a white, sucking Uncle Tom kind of guy was the greatest insult you could give a guy who was nothing but raging black.
The young Muhammad Ali would have run circles around Joe Frazier, but it wasn't the young Ali who got in the ring with Joe.
My kid blew the 11th round big. I don't know how the heck he stayed erect. He looked like a ballet dancer, like a pirouette.
He didn't feel that he was fighting only for himself. He felt that he was fighting for everybody who believed in him.
I remember listening on the radio as a young kid and thinking, what? He's down?
It was one of those nights that I will always remember. And when Ali went down, it was as if I and my generation had taken a punch to the solar plexus.
Ali got up at the count of 4 in the 15th round, but Frazier had won the unanimous decision.
Don't flinch, don't move.
On September 27, 1946, in Yankee Stadium, one of the most ferocious rivalries in sports began. Rocky Graziano, the 11-5 hometown favorite, faced off against Tony Zale, who had won the middleweight title in 1941. Both were tougher than gristle.
You had a guy from Gary, Indiana, Tony Zale, who they called the Man of Steel, and he was.
You know, Graziano was the younger fighter, the guy coming up. Graziano's the Italian guy from New York. I mean, there were just a ton of things that fit that sort of time and place in America.
These two clashed, and it was like It was like a neighborhood fist fight on the corner.
You had an irresistible force against an immovable object.
They both went down. When Zale knocked him down, Rocky got up and knocked Zale down. Boom, boom, back and forth. Somebody was going to go.
An almost inhuman amount of punishment was dished out to one fighter or the other.
After the second round, Ray Arcel and the handlers of Zale had to go out and pull him back to his corner. He was in bad shape.
At the end of the fifth round, when Zale came back to his corner, his legs were quivering. It was a miracle almost that they could get him onto his feet again at the end of a minute.
It's just a matter of time before Rocky Graziano knocks out Zale and wins the middleweight title.
In the sixth round, Rocky got hit with a left hook to the body that in the solar plexus, and it paralyzed him, and he went down.
By the time he got up, it was after 10. It just completely knocked all the wind out of him.
He went home after that fight, and he was in seclusion for weeks.
Zale's finishing punch was thrown with a broken thumb. Their 6 rounds left everyone wanting more. They would get it. On July 16, 1947, in Chicago, Zale and Graziano resumed their brutal rivalry. This one, like the first, ended in the 6th round. Unlike the first, this one had a different winner.
The second fight, they knew what it was, which was a whole night of hell, and they willingly chose to go there.
Two human beings who were totally committed to annihilate the opposition.
Zale drives a right to the body, a right to the jaw, putting Graziano on the ropes again.
Zale Graziano 2 was actually very similar to the first fight, but role reversals. It's Rocky Graziano who's getting the tar beaten out of him. One eye is shut, the other is bleeding.
Zale actually controlled the early going.
Graziano standing up now, straight, bobs and waves a little bit.
To keep the fight from being stopped, his trainer, Whitey Bemstein, pressed a quarter to the eye and caused the swelling to leak out. He came out with murder in his one good eye and climbed all over Zale on the ropes, pounding him.
Graziano unleashed a fury of rights, knocking Zale down. More right hands drove Zale to the ropes, and the referee stopped him.
Rocky Graziano, he's got like fire in his eyes. Like I said, it's like, ah. And the referee said I had to stop Rocky that night because he would have killed Tony Zale.
Rocky Graziano was the new middleweight champion of the world.
Never bet against U.S. Steel, General Motors, and Joe Louis.
Billy Conn, a light heavyweight, tried to cash that bet on June 18, 1941, before 60,000 in the Polo Grounds. After 12 rounds, he looked like a winner, and the 4-year reign of Joe Louis was in dire jeopardy.
Billy Conn was a very, very good fighter. A very tough kid from Pittsburgh. He hit Louis with a right hand that made Louis' legs turn into spaghetti.
Billy Conn got cocky, and instead of going for the decision, he tried to knock Joe Louis out. He began to try to slug with Joe Louis, and that was the mistake.
Louis was losing the fight 7-4-1 on most scorecards, nails him in the middle of the ring, and then puts together that classic Joe Louis combination, head, body, uppercut, and Conn is out.
And Louis came right back from the brink of defeat after Conn had made as great a fight as you could possibly imagine.
Only 2 seconds remained in the 13th round when Conn was counted out.
Guess I had too much to win for tonight, and I tried to knock him out. Otherwise, I'd have won easy.
It being number... Thomas Hearns was called the Hitman for obvious and violent reasons. Marvelous Marvin Hagler possessed wrecking ball fists too. On April 15, 1985, in Las Vegas, in an unbridled slugfest, the two middleweights squared off for 3 furious rounds that seemed like 15.
When the bell rang, they ran across me. We're like 2 vicious amateurs, just slugging away. They didn't care. Caution to the wind.
These guys delivered in a way that you seldom see. In the 15th round of a fight, let alone in the first round of a fight, when guys feel each other out.
Sometimes it happens that an athlete shows up the night of a performance and he simply ain't got it. And that's what happened to Tommy Hearns.
What I noticed through the end of the second round was that Tommy Hearns had no legs. That fight could not have went the distance at that pace. You can't do that.
Tommy Hearns, he went in there that night with Marvin Hagler, who only had not been knocked down once. Tommy Hearns threw that right hand, and bam, right off the chin of Hagler. Hagler took a step back. They kept coming forward.
Both guys never let up. They just kept willing away. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, hard, vicious shots. No one threw a jab. No one set the man up. No one had a proper stance. It was a street fight.
I don't think that either one of us really thought. We just fought.
I was in a brawl, and we both was giving it to each other. The punch that really did Tommy Hearns in was a kind of a right jab, because Marvin Hagler southpaw.
Hearns went down in the third round, arose but was unable to continue.
Hagler had never quite gotten his due as a great champion. And I think with that knockout, people realized this is not just a middleweight champ. This is an all-time great.
3-3-3.
Once the Archie Moore fight with Darrell took place, everybody understood now a fight is not over until it's over.
On December 10th, 1958, Archie Moore, the 40-something light heavyweight champ, was sent to the canvas 4 times by 3-1 underdog Yvon Darrell. Somehow, the old mongoose kept getting up.
For some reason, Archie Moore in that fight was wide open. And Yvon Darrell wasn't a great fighter, but he just clobbered him all over the place.
It was cold inside the arena, and Archie got a slow start in the fight, and Darrell caught him right away and knocked him down.
And he just did with a right hand to the jaw. 5, 6.
Archie shouldn't have got up, but his courage got him up.
Up at 9, but staggering.
We got knocked out 3 times in the first round. And as Archie put it, it felt like my head exploded.
Sounds strange, but one of Darrell's punches, like, woke up Moore.
Wait a minute, he went down all those times, but he's up, and he's not only up, he's throwing the leather, and whoa, Darrell's down.
10 seconds left. Down goes Darrell. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Saved by the bell at the count of 8.
If you were like a student of the manly art of self-defense, you don't slap that tape on and show your students that this is how you want to box. You know, but if you want to raise a family of fighters, you know, you put it on and you say, this is what fighters do. They get knocked down, they get up, and then they knock you down. And then the guy, he gets up and he comes with bad intentions. That's what a fighter is.
Moore put Darrell down for good in the 11th.
8, struggling at 9, 10. He is out. Man, oh man, what a dramatic turn in this fight.
2-2-2-2.
2 fighters who were dominant fighters, if they decline at a similar pace, make a great fight.
On October 1st, 1975, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier completed their 3-part, 41-round epic. This one, overlaid with undisguised hatred, lasted 14 savage rounds.
Frazier and Ali meet in Manila in 1975. Ali has given all of himself the year before in Zaire. Frazier was really perceived as a shot fighter. He was done. Muhammad Ali's idea going into that fight is that Frazier's a slow starter. Let me jump right on him and get him out early.
Thriller in Manila was a tremendous fight. Well, let's not call it a fight. Let's call it a war.
They were fighting for the heavyweight championship of each other.
The first part, Ali is just whipping on Frazier. Somehow, in the middle rounds, Frazier comes through. Frazier starts wailing, he cuts off the ring, he gets him on the ropes. He was killing Ali.
Ali tried to regain the psychological edge by looking at him and saying, Joe Frazier, they told me you were washed up. And Frazier said, they told you wrong, pretty boy.
There was a real sense by the end of the 10th round, Frazier is going to beat Ali.
Closest to life and death I've ever seen. To equally matched fighters. An intense competitive edge on each other, if not dislike, actual hatred, if you will.
I never saw Joe Frazier take so many punches. Ali got tired of hitting him.
It looked like Ali was going to have to quit in the corner. He said, I feel like I'm dying. This must be what death feels like.
At the bell ending the 14th, Ali knocked out Frazier's mouthpiece. Frazier's eyes were almost completely shut.
Bill came back to the corner, and I said, "It's all over, Joe."
I said, "I can visualize it. Don't worry about it." He said, "No." So I said, "Okay." Shut it down.
It's all over.
It's a tribute to both fighters that they put themselves through that. When two old warriors are going at it, there's more damage being inflicted, and they inflicted a lot of damage on each other that night.
In sports, the most... Welcome back to Who's Number One and the 20 greatest fights of all time. Let's recap them.
20.
Gene Tunney, Jack Dempsey, the long count.
19.
Sugar Ray Robinson, Jake LaMotta, number 6.
18.
Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Rumble in the Jungle.
17.
Joe Louis, Max Schmeling, More Than a Fight.
16.
Willie Pep, Sandy Sadler, number 2 of 4.
15.
Evander Holyfield, Riddick Bowe, Battle of the Unbeatens.
14.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Big Rally.
13.
Rocky Marciano, Jersey Joe Walter, One Big Punch.
12.
Larry Holmes, Ken Norton, Eye Opener.
11.
George Foreman, Ron Lyle, Timber.
10.
Carmen Basilio, Tony DeMarco, Concrete Chin.
9.
Alexis Arguello, Aaron Pryor, no 4th title.
8.
Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, the trilogy begins.
7.
Tony Zale, Rocky Graziano, 1.
6.
Tony Zale, Rocky Graziano, 2.
5.
Joe Louis, Billy Conn, the almost upset.
4.
Marvin Hagler, Thomas Hearns, 3 rounds of hell.
3.
Archie Moore, Yvonne Durrell, keep getting up.
2.
Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, the trilogy ends. Well, there's the bell, and the judges have made their decision. Here's number 1.
1. 1.
On September 14th, 1923, in the Polo Grounds, Jack Dempsey found himself on one knee before the echo of the first bell faded. The heavyweight champ was knocked down by Louis Firpo. Dempsey responded by decking the Argentine challenger 7 times. Firpo responded by knocking Dempsey out of the ring.
This was the stuff of legend, the $1 million game. Back when $1 million was $1 million.
Dempsey was at the height of his powers at that point, and you know, Firpo was the wild bull of the Pampas, and you know, people had sort of heard of him, but you didn't. Who's going to knock down Jack Dempsey?
Firpo was 220 pounds. Back then, that was considered a giant. Dempsey about 190 pounds. In its day, it was probably the most dramatic fight, considering the scale and, you know, what was on the line, and then the actual action and shifts of momentum and controversy.
Firpo got up. He's a very clumsy ox of a man. Swing like this, like a washerwoman.
Dempsey was baiting him up, but then Firpo landed a punch and knocked Dempsey right through the ropes. Now the champion is in desperate trouble. See Dempsey outside the ring, being helped back in the ring, pushed back in by the sports writers.
He always gave them credit, actually, for saving him in the fight.
There was great courage. You know, you get knocked through the ropes, it's pretty easy to say, well, not my night.
Tremendous fight, and that made Dempsey a boxing immortal.
Dempsey registered 2 more knockdowns in the second, the last one ending the fight. The final tally, 11 knockdowns in less than 4 minutes.
And Jack Dempsey, of course, became the word we use is iconic figure. He became an icon of what was then part of the Jazz Age.
Ultimately, what makes it a great fight is that the right guy won, by which I mean Dempsey proved his greatness. I'm still Jack Dempsey, and you're not.
Heavy hands, quick feet, the heart of a lion. That makes for a great fighter and a great fight. And also leads to what else? Great debate. Which leads us, naturally, to our second guessers, Brawlin' Burt Randolph Sugar and Nasty Nick Acachella, and their opinion of the list. Gentlemen, be kind.
Nick, what about this list? Now, I must, a little bit of confession here and a little bit of just saying I was part of the panel that pulled this together. What do you think about it? Dempsey, Firpo, number 1?
I have no problem with Dempsey, Firpo being number 1. I got a problem with a couple of these being way down on the list. The 1951 Willie Pep Sandy Sadler fight should be much higher.
And that was their second fight.
The second fight. And I think the Hearns Hagler probably is number 2.
That was a brilliant. I mean, and people will remember that because. Do you remember Richard Steele stopping the fight? Well, Hagler had to cut here and
There
say,
was blood running down his
"Can you
head.
see?"
Yeah,
and
right,
he said, "I'm hitting
He said,
him."
I'm hitting him, and came right back and pounded him.
So if I break up, hypothetically, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier 1, and Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier 3.
Yeah, well, number 3 is the better fight, but number 1 certainly belongs on
Well,
the
how
list.
do all the trappings?
Yeah.
I mean, you should have seen the outfits that night. Floor-length fur coats, sable. White matching white hats, white sable. Those were the men.
Those are the men.
The women were in hot pants. It was looked for. But why that was important was because of what it meant at that time in the Vietnamese conflict.
Right.
The anti and pro-war. Frazier became the darling of the hard hats.
The same reason the Schmeling-Lewis fight is on here for its historical context.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 4 seconds does not make a great
Why
fight.
not? A superior athlete defeating an athlete who's not as good very, very quickly. I have no problem with that.
It was always a question with the panel whether the third Ali-Frazier fight was better. Forget the trappings as a fight. Remember, that's the one where Ali said it was the closest thing to death.
Yeah, closest thing to death. Yeah, I think you've got them listed right. I think 3 is the fight. But some of the older fights, I have a problem with Willie Pep, Sandy Sadler,
Being
1951. Way too low. I mean, this was brilliant. I mean, Pep was battered and won the fight. I mean, he was bleeding.
Oh, but he was doing everything he could.
He was doing everything he could.
You know what he said after that fight? He tried everything he could with Sadler, and he couldn't keep him off him except one thing. When he stepped on his foot.
He stepped on his foot, right.
He said,
right,
ouch.
Right.
He said, I stepped on his foot.
So he kept stepping on his foot.
15 rounds because he had corns.
I mean, that was a classic matchup of a brilliant boxer and a hitter.
How about some of today's fights? I mean, you know, what do you think of Ali Foreman?
Ali Foreman...
I mean, that was a contention.
Yeah.
I mean, how high it goes, is it a great fight or just a great moment?
How do you distinguish a great moment from a great fight? Isn't a great fight because of great moments, or maybe even one great moment makes a great fight?
Possibly, and maybe it transcends the moment, though, and lives forever beyond that as a total fight. I mean, go ahead and tell me one moment of Sadler-Pep.
No.
See, that to me, that was a totality.
No, that's a totality. That's a totality.
That was a...
Like Graziano Zale.
I just think that the Hagler-Hearns fight might have been one of the great moments we remember.
Yeah.
Any others?
There's something missing here. I see the Jack Johnson.
Jess Willard.
The Jack Johnson-Jess Willard fight. I mean, obviously, even you and I weren't old enough to see that.
I hope so. We could be sitting up.
At least for historical significance.
All right, we've got an almost concurrence, and in conclusion, we have an almost concurrence.
Well, the second guessers have had their say. Now it's time to see how you, the fan, voted on Sports Nation on ESPN.com for the greatest fight of all time. Number 5, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns 1. Muhammad Ali, George Foreman. Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier 1. Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns. Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier 3. And that's it for this edition of Who's Number One, a bleeding, battering version. Thanks for joining us for ESPN Classics ranking of the 20 greatest fights of all time. We will be back to continue our countdown of the teams, the athletes, and the events that have shaped our world in sports. Until then, let the debating begin.